fish woven into the doll. Furthermoreites thought that it was created much later than the note would indicate, probably during the second half of the 18th century. Although not an actual ninja, it is still preserved in the temple as a religious object. And it's like the old saying goes, the soul of the Buddha resides in objects that are carved from wood. Number 8. Cancun, Mexico. In 2016, explorers in Cancun were swimming in a cenote, a natural sinkhole that's formed when bedrock limestone collapses and deep pits of water recreated, and they said that someone swam by them. At first they mistook it for a fellow explorer and diver, but upon further inspection into the cave they saw that it was a mermaid. Luckily they had body cameras to capture the majestic creature. This is fitting because some believers have long thought that caves would be the perfect home or hiding place for mermaids, and allegedly experts will have analyzed the footage, claim that it hasn't been edited in any way whatsoever. Number 9. Iceland. In 2013, researchers filming inside of a submarine off the coast of Iceland were stunned when they were about 3,000 feet below the ocean surface. They would capture footage of a glowing web hand that was pressing up against the glass of their vessel. Dr. Torsten Schmidt was the lead marine biologist on that mission. Schmidt said that when he saw the mermaid, he knew that he was looking into the face of another intelligent species, like a human being. Footage captured by an additional camera more clearly reveals the body and face of the creature, and it appears to have a large black eyes and a small mouth. In Icelandic culture, the mermaid sits on Erik lures sailors in with her son and then quickly disappears forever into the water with the men in her embrace. It's depicted in art all throughout the country. Number 10. Unidentified catch. Some revere this next video as being the most solid evidence that mermaids exist. It captured fishermen reeling one off their nuts up to the boat. However, they apparently caught more than they were bargaining for. A webbed hand can be seen reaching out of it. The hand looks like the one that was pushed up against the submarine in the last video, and if you listen closely you can almost hear the mermaid growling for a new upon seeing it. Some of the men on the boat gasped in shock and terror, perhaps because of the bad weather. The fishermen fear the mermaid's strength, or a combination of the three. The net is then soon released back into the water. Number 11. John Smith. John Smith, known for his fictitious romance with Pocahontas, may have also come into contact with a green-haired version of another Disney princess. Upon arriving in the West Indies in 1614, Smith apparently found a unique woman swimming offshore. He recounted that she was swimming with all possible grace near the shore. The upper part of her body resembled that of a woman. She had large eyes rather too round, a finely shaped nose a little too short, well-formed ears rather too long, and her green hair imparted to her and original character by no means unattractive. From below the waist the woman gave way toffish. However, it should be noted that many speculate that Smith never recorded this incident, as nothing about it has been found in his writings, but instead it's believed that a separate author may have concocted the tale much later. Number 12. Jenny Hanover. In the 1500s, these creatures appeared all over Antwerp, Belgium. They were so frequent, in fact, that sailors had a particular name for them, which means the Youth of Antwerp, and French it hypothesized that British sailors mispronounced this term as Jenny Hanovers. These figures, also known as devilfish, are the carcasses of a ray or a shark that have been modified and resulting in the mummified specimens that are thought to resemble fictional creatures like demons, dragons, or mermaids. Some believe that they were the enemy of Christ. Others, commonly in Mexico, believed that they were helpful in religious rituals and were implemented by traditional shamans to heal the sick. Legends have it that while alive, Jenny Hanovers would approach tourists and sell souvenirs to them. The earliest known picture of one appeared in Conrad Gessner's Historia Animalia, Volume 4 in 1558. He would warn that they were merely disfigured rays and not many. It's your monster. Some other writers have suggested that the sea monk was a Jenny Hanover. Number 13. Wales. Did you know there was a mermaid queen off Wales? She appears scattered through REFERENCES all throughout the countries. Laurent, after extensive research for his book The Fairy Faith in Celtic Countries, Walter Evans, Unsaprochad Welch Justice of Peace from Carmouth, and David Williams to question him about his findings. Evans once told Williams about the king and queen of Fettle with Tag, who he named Gwendianaban and Gwenhada. The king is said to live amongst the stars and just one off several magical fortresses in Welsh. Legend and his wife the queen is connected to the white fluffy clouds, called the sheep of Gindahu when the weather is nice, but as stated before, the queen is known well in various forms of Welsh folklore. To some she is a mermaid, and in that context her name means white enchantment or white spell. In modern times she's rumored to run with her herd of white horses on the waves of nearby waters. More traditional stories, however, mention that she had a beard at one point and that she's referred to as being plain further. After seeing a mermaid in 1603, man drew this in or dare to adequately document what he had seen. These are examples of British lore that suggests that mermaids, contrary to popular belief, are not very attractive, and possibly not easily differentiate from mermen. Number 14. Norway. Norway is another country that historically has portrayed mermaids in a bad light, although they do not suggest that they are ugly. Instead, tradition has it that they're fierce and evil beings. As early as the 13th century, Norwegian manuscripts suggest that the fish/human hybrids were often called sirens. They were described as giant monsters, and furthermore it was said that doom was sure to follow wherever one was spotted. Stories of these terrifying beings were passed down from generation to generation, and then, in 1718, a painter in the Dutch Indies claimed to have found and caught a siren, and he brought her into his home and drew this picture. However, the siren was apparently unhappy with her new situation, because after a few days of living in a container of water she purposely stopped eating. And indeed. Number 15. Canada. Now in 1967, few people witnessed what they thought was a mermaid on Manus Land in British Columbia, Canada. She's known as the dimpled mermaid, and she was called that because one of the people who saw her said that she was a cute blonde with dimples. Those that did see her were on a ferry and close to the active past. The Daily Colonists ran a story about it, along with a photograph that was taken of her, and the article said that several witnesses said the mermaid had a large fish, apparently cohosaman, and one swore that she had taken a bite out of it. Furthermore, she was described as having a long silver blonde hair and was topless. In an attempt to get another sighting, a man flew to the area where she was reported and took an aerial photograph. This photograph would not be published, but it apparently showed a silvery object on a rock. The colonists kicked it up a few days later and announced a 25,000 reward would be offered for anyone who could actually produce the dimpled mermaid of active past. Charles White of the Undersea Gardens offered the reward, and he added that a panel of competent marine biologists would need to confirm that she was a real mermaid. He also said that he would develop a contract with the mermaid to afford her a substantial salary, room and board, and a supply of those special combs that mermaid use. He further wanted to inquire whether she preferred sleeping with her tail above or under the covers. The mermaid would then be seen just a week later, but the woman who spotted her at the time was not convinced. She didn't believe for a moment that it was a real mermaid. Apparently she thought that it was a plain old human who wore a long blonde wig and a slimy green tail. The colonists reported that it still gets inquiries about the dimpled mermaid evento this day, usually from people who are desperate to believe that it was real.